A rare change in a death certificate may allow a repeat drunk driver to avoid a long prison sentence.
Well, this comes just days before his trial begins. ABC 6 is on your side with Terry Sullivan. And Terry, it could lead to future problems with several more autopsy reports by the Franklin County Coroner's Office.
That's right, Bob. Right now, Timothy Castle is charged with aggravated vehicular homicide, but that death certificate change could change that. And the victim's family is outraged. They turn to 6 on your side, hoping to get answers.
She was the center of our little universe.
Dawn Call is talking about Debbie Meadows, a woman who was going to be her mother-in-law.
She was sort of the ticking to our heartbeat.
But all that changed May 19th, 2014. Meadows was driving home after having dinner with friends. Also on the road, Timothy Castle, who had just left a bar on Trayview Road. He slammed into her seconds later.
Yes, there's a very bad car accident at the intersection of Wilson and Trayview Road.
Police received more than a dozen calls in the minutes after the crash.
Somebody's injured. She's passed out behind the wheel.
Castle told police he had only 2 drinks at the bar.
His eyes were glazed over and bloodshot. He had difficulty performing the field sobriety testing. She suffered paralysis on half of her body, and the doctors are not real optimistic.
Meadows never regained consciousness. She died 11 days later. The coroner listed blunt force trauma to the head from the accident on Meadows' death certificate. The charge against Castle was then up to a felony, aggravated vehicular homicide. He was held on $1 million bond.
And the prosecutors had full belief that we had a strong case. There was no getting out of this. He was over 3 times the limit. He was very drunk. And we thought we had a fighting chance.
The case dragged on for another year and a half, continued 8 times until last month when this arrived.
We received a piece of paper in the mail, no letter with it explaining what was wrong. It just said it was a death certificate and it stated her melanoma as the cause of death. Gashes on your forehead do not appear from melanoma.
After more than 2 years, another shock for the family. A new death certificate claiming it wasn't the accident that killed Debbie, it was cancer. The family struggled to understand.
She still had plenty of time left. She was out driving, she was enjoying her time with friends, and she was enjoying her time with us. We have not gotten any explanation from the coroner whatsoever. It devastates us. We feel completely betrayed.
I have difficulty myself.
Franklin County Prosecutor Ron O'Brien says the sudden change complicates the case against Castle.
Our hands end up being tied. We now have different testimony than what we had when the case was indicted by the grand jury.
Dr. J. Scott Somerset, a certified expert in forensic pathology, is the one who performed Meadows' autopsy. He suddenly left the coroner's office last year after 5 years. The reason is cloudy. Whatever it was, the prosecutor's office was forced to have his autopsy reviewed by the coroner's office. The result was shocking.
So it is a very, very rare occurrence. They essentially disagreed with the conclusion of the former employee. They reissued a new death certificate.
O'Brien says now 6 other cases with Somerset's name on them are affected.
Because he's no longer available as a witness, so in any case where the autopsy was done, we have to have someone else take a look at it, review it, and then testify in his place.
I feel like this fault goes on the coroner, and the family wants answers.
We reached out to Franklin County Coroner Anahi Ortiz to ask her about Somerset and why the death certificate had been changed. She refused to meet with us. So on this night before Castle's trial is set to begin, Call says the family is hoping for a miracle.
I would like to believe that it's changed so easily from one cause to another, then why couldn't it go back? But I feel like as long as the coroner is not willing to work and see us and speak to us and give us an explanation, that it probably will not change.
One thing that'll probably change, the charge against Castle, which may bring months instead of years in prison. I reached out to former Franklin County Coroner Dr. Jan Gorniak. She signed off on the initial cause of death, and she said, quote, "It was my opinion on August 7th, 2014, and it is still my opinion today that Ms. Meadows died as a result of complications from the injuries she suffered in that motor vehicle accident that occurred on May 19th, 2014, and not from cancer." Now, Castle is expected to plead guilty to a lesser charge tomorrow. By the way, he was convicted of another drunk driving case back in 2011.
Just wonder how the coroner could make such a change for so many cases without an explanation.
Yeah, just in this particular case, this is the one we're looking at, and we tried to ask her about that, and she just would not agree to meet with us.
And the trial starts tomorrow.
It does start tomorrow. He's expected to change the plea because, of course, the charges are going to be different, and we will be there tomorrow as well in the courtroom.
All right, well, keep us updated.
Sure.
It's a tough case to swallow. Morning.
Terry, thank you.